What's up everybody, SuperDorks fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2014 Honda Civic Si Coupe. Many thanks to Justin for letting me review his brand new car today. So about the brand new 2014 Civic Si, well they've been lightly changed here. You know, it has a brand new front end, brand new back end, has new taillights, new wheels that I really like. And you know, to be honest, whenever I first saw the pictures of the new 2014 changes, I wasn't a big fan of them. In person though, it does look better. From certain angles, it still looks a little rough in my opinion, but I think it's a good looking car overall. And this one, especially in this white color with the red interior on the seats, it's really a nice combination. I think it's a good looking car overall. Right, so for the interior of this car, it's a pretty nice place to be. So first thing you notice is getting into this car, you have nice and heavy doors, closed with a good solid thunk, and I always like that. And you know, the door panels and everything feels nice and high quality, you know, for the price range this car is in, you know, mid $23,000 range. Very, very nice. And so you sit down in this car and you have some really cool seats. I love that they have, you know, the red middle part. It's really just livens up the interior. I love color on interiors, and so having these red seats is great. As far as the seat build quality and everything, it's pretty nice. You have some nice bolsters. They're a little bit wider than I would prefer, but they're still really nice seats. They hug you really well, and this cloth material is, you know, kind of grippy, so it holds you in place pretty well. Next is the steering wheel, which is on the small side, which I like, and it's a really nice wheel. Great 9/3 grip. You have the nice red stitching, and it's leather wrapped, of course. You have a couple of buttons here, you know, to control the radio and things like that, cruise control, all that good stuff. But you know, very simple wheel, not too cluttered. Has nice little notches that are very, very small, but it does have small little notches here at the 10 and 2 position. Just a great wheel to put your hands on. Next is the gauges, which are the same thing you've seen in the 2013 Civic that I reviewed, and even in the 2009 Civic I reviewed. So they've been doing this double tier dash for a while now, and it looks good. I always loved it. I think it's really nice. You know, you have the tachometer and a bunch of your warning lights down here on the lower portion, and in the upper portion you have your you know, speedometer, of course. You have your fuel, and then you have a multi-function display that has all kinds of information, such as an engine power meter, which I like. It also, you know, will display a clock and your radio information, things like that, which is pretty cool. So for 2014, there's been a couple updates to the interior. The first is an engine stop-start button, which is now standard, which is very nice. And so you have a keyless entry access system in this car standard, which is very nice. The other thing that's new and standard now is this nice touchscreen head unit, which is, you still have to get navigation as an option. So this one doesn't have navigation, but even without it, it's very nice, you know, for your radio controls and everything. It's very responsive. I like that. And even the volume controls. I wish that, you know, I still miss a volume knob, but having this little slider, and you still have a button on the steering wheel too, but you know, the slider and all the, you know, functions for that kind of stuff, it's much more responsive than Cadillac's Q system, for example, and everything is very easy to use and very easy to get used to. While we're in the center part of the dashboard here, you also have your heating and air controls, which have very nice feedback, very high quality feel. This is much better than anything else you're going to get in this mid $20,000 price range. This is really, really nice. Honda's done an excellent job with their interiors over the past couple of years. As far as storage space goes in this car, it's actually really good. So you have your bottle holder and the map pocket here and the doors, and then coming along to the center here, you have a nice deep cubby that has a power outlet, a USB port, and an HDMI port for videos, that's the first time I've ever seen that in a car. That's very, very cool. And so you have this nice deep cubby. It has some rubber grips on it, so you can, you know, keep stuff in there. It's not going to slide around. And then you have another little cubby here above that, and you can fit some more stuff in there. You have your 2 cup holders, and then you have this center console, which is pretty deep, and you know, has another USB jack in there as well. And you know, it's really nice. And while we're looking at this here, you know, this armrest has a little bit of padding on it, but honestly it's kind of hard, not super comfortable to put your elbow on that. It could be a little bit more padded, I think. Backseat space in this car is pretty good. I mean, obviously there's a 4-door Civic Si you can get if you want a good back seat, but this one is still acceptable. You can fit adults back there in a pinch. Kids will fit back there just fine, won't complain one bit. Trunk space in this car is also really good, especially for a coupe. I mean, it's very large. You can fit several suitcases in there. Really an impressive trunk for a coupe. All right, so let's take it for a drive and see how it does. So now, you know, with this push button start, there's just a nice little key fob here, and it's actually got a nice weight and feels really high quality too. Even the key fob is super high quality, way better than my BRZ key. Anyway, so you just put the clutch in and hit the start button, and it comes to life. All right, so setting off in the 2014 Honda Civic Si. So, you know, the one thing that you notice immediately whenever you're driving these cars is the clutch pedal feels very light, and the shifter action is very light. It's a very small little shifter as well, but it's very precise and it's excellent. But it takes no effort to shift in this car, which is interesting. Also, you know, the visibility is excellent in these cars. Obviously, Honda Civics are built with safety in mind, and so the SI version benefits from that. So, I mean, you have a very large greenhouse, huge windshield, huge side windows, excellent visibility all around. You have the, you know, in the Coupe here, the rear visibility isn't quite as good, but it's still not bad. And this car, actually, another new option, another new feature that's standard for 2014 actually, is whenever you put on the right turn signal, it has a camera underneath the mirror there on the passenger side, and it'll show you your perfect, you know, view of the passenger side. You know, so if you're making lane changes, you can see, you know, perfectly what's going on, and so you don't even have to look over your shoulder anymore. You can just look straight at the screen. So that's a pretty cool feature. I've never even seen that in the car before. So I'm on this bumpy park road here, and it gives me a good feel for how the suspension is in this car. And you know, for 2014 they have a stiffer spring rate and a stiffer rear stabilizer bar for the 2014 SI here, and so it's supposed to be a little bit sharper handling. So we'll see once we go on a back road here. But on this park road though, I mean, it's bumpy, you know, and this car soaks up bumps really well. I'm always impressed with just how refined and just how comfortable it is to drive a Civic Si. These newer ones especially. All right, so let's go down this back road here and see how it does. A little bit of chirp in second gear there, and man, this thing accelerates well. I'm impressed. You know, they have a little bit more horsepower for 2014 thanks to a revised exhaust system. It's 4 more horsepower, 205 horsepower, but 174 foot-pounds of torque. So this thing feels pokey. I mean, around town, it'll, you know, go. It's coming up to some very tight corners here. Let's see how the body roll and the handling is. And it's good. I'm really impressed. It controls its height and its weight well, because this car feels like a little bit of a bigger car, but man, it's just no problem around these tight corners. This is really, I mean, these are some tight corners, guys, and this thing is just planted solid. That you can tell that rear stabilizer bar that's now stiffer definitely helps. I mean, I just ate up those corners no problem, and they were tight corners. So I mean, this is really an impressive handling car, and you know, like I said, it has lots of punch too. So I mean, it's really good. More corners. This thing is just a joy to drive around corners. Man, oh man, just here's another one, no big deal. It's really nice, you know, throttle response is pretty good, brake pedal and everything. It's really good for daily driving sportiness. It's, you know, not super razor edge like the 2009 Civic Si review. That was a little too sharp. This one is, you know, a little bit dulled, I think, but I like that because it makes it a little more street friendly. The only thing I wish the steering was heavier in this car still. That's something they still haven't fixed yet. The steering is a little too light. Around those corners, I would like a little more feel, and I didn't have it, but it was still pretty good. Just, you know, I like a little bit more weight whenever I'm carving up corners, and this is just a little bit light. You can see my wheel turning back and forth. It's just, you know, it's responsive and everything, but I just wish it was a little bit of a quicker steering rack. That's the only thing, though, about this car that I can fault it so far. But I'm going to drive this car all afternoon, and I'll come back and give you some updated impressions. So I've been driving this car for a while now, and got a better feel for it here. And one thing that it keeps coming up whenever I step on the gas pedal in this car is the torque steer. I mean, this car does have torque steer, and obviously the more power you add, the worse the torque steer is going to get. I feel like the wheel is almost trying to kill some of it. It feels a little strange whenever the torque steer does come on. It doesn't feel totally natural, so I'm not sure if there's some kind of mechanism in here trying to fight the torque steer, but it's still there, and it's still very apparent. And this is the kind of car, like a lot of powerful front-wheel drive cars, you have to keep your hand on the wheel, because if you floor this thing, it'll steer itself right off the road if you're not hanging on, I'm sure. So, you know, you definitely have to make sure that whenever you're, you know, have the wheel turned at all, prepare for torque steer. But that's just a front-wheel drive thing, not a bad fault of the cars, really. The one other thing, though, is this new head unit that they have. It is a little distracting because it isn't quite as good, you know, with the feedback as I would like. You know, there's no, you're touching something, and there's no feedback as far as what you're actually doing, and you know, even like just turning the volume up and down is slow. And I keep reaching for this air control knob for the fan speed. I keep reaching for that like it's a volume knob, but it's not. And it's like, you have buttons here, you know, on the steering wheel for the volume, but you know, it just would be nice to have a physical knob still. This car is really fun though, because you know, when you're going into corners at full throttle, it kind of grips into the corner, you know, it's clawing its way through because it's got that front wheel drive just pulling those front tires and just fighting for grip, and it's a really exciting sensation. This car is full of drama and I love that, but it's still comfortable. It's not a race car, you can still enjoy it just comfortably driving around, you know, so it's not going to beat you up whenever you're commuting, which is, you know, nice. These are just really, really good. They're bulletproof reliability wise. Everything about them is just outstanding. I really like them a lot. Another thing though, talking about this head unit, is I was driving my girlfriend around earlier, and she was kind of saying how you can't see, you know, the glare is pretty bad on this screen for the passenger, and because this center stack is angled towards the driver, it's kind of hard for the passenger to see it sometimes. I mean, you can see it kind of still, but you know, it's not quite as good as, you know, like if they want to help you with navigation or changing the radio or something, that's a little bit harder, and they kind of have to lean over a little bit to do that. And you know, I mean, I realize this is supposed to be a driver-centric dash and things like that, but it's a little bit of a challenge. It's just something unique, you know, if you have passengers riding in here all the time, they like playing with the head unit, just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm really nitpicking here. The absolute, you know, bare essentials of the car, everything about this car, you know, aside from the little gizmos and things like that, it's just spectacular. It's, from a mechanic standpoint, this car is just on the dot. It's just so good. Honda always nails it with the Civic Si's. I mean, the 09s were a little bit cruder and a little bit sharper edge than I would have liked. The 2013 sedan Civic that I drove, you know, that was a lot better. You know, it was a more refined car than the 2009 that I reviewed. And this being the Coupe, you know, it's nice to have a smaller car and still have that amazing handling, the amazing fun of the VTEC engine, and, you know, high revving. And I mean, even though, you know, for the past couple of years, these have had a 2.4 liter engine instead of the you know, old 2.2 that they used to have. The red line's not as high; it's 7,000 RPM. But I'll gladly take that to have more of the punch around town with the mid-range torque. So that's a trade-off I'm glad to make. Another acceleration there. This induction noise is really good too. These four cylinders just always sound great. I mean, this doesn't really have much of an exhaust note, but the engine note, the induction noise is just really great. A couple other things that I love about this car is this free revving engine. I mean, this engine just loves to rev, and it revs really quickly. It's just buttery smooth in its operation. It's a very quiet engine too whenever you're not getting on it. It's very, very refined. I love that. The brakes are really good as I'm stopping for a red light here. Brake feels excellent. They're just the right amount of sensitivity. Some cars, the brakes are way too sensitive and they're way too grippy too fast. Other cars, there's not enough feel. This one, it's just right. You can tell that they've just really gotten this car down to a science. Honda has really done a good job with this car. Another thing though, as far as driving dynamics go, is the way the gears are set up. I mean, obviously, you know, these Hondas are famous for having very short shifts, and it's also, you know, very light throw, but the gearing itself for the gearbox is actually very short. And even in sixth gear, this car feels like it could use a seventh with how high it's revving and on the highway. It's not like it's that high, but you know, it's just the gears are very closely spaced, and it just makes it really fun because you can just rip in each gear. It's kind of like the GTR that I had tested, where you can rip in each gear, and you know, it just really is exciting because it pulls hard because it's geared so short, and that's a lot of fun. So they definitely designed this car with fun in mind, and it's great because you only have 205 horsepower, so you can drive like a madman and still be under the speed limit. So it's okay, and you're fine. You don't have cops hating you or anything. It's really, you know, a great car for daily driving. It's just spectacular. So yeah, many thanks to Justin for allowing me to review his car. Really, really appreciate it. This one is brand new, and you know, he just picked it up 2 days ago, so very kind of him to let me drive it. And so yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.